Took a little bit of a break from the investing series. I'll go back to that and do a few more videos on that series in the future, but I wanted to take a little bit of a side note and go back to a more traditional SPEAKDOM because I want to emphasize the importance of working on yourself and focusing on yourself. So something I've learned in the past year and a half or so, based on things that have happened in my life, both personally and professionally, is that for a very long time I neglected myself, and I neglected working on myself and working on improving myself mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally. I was too caught up in other things. I was too caught up in things like the community, whether it be like the anime community over on my main channel, Geekdom 101, and all the work I did there with conventions and things like that. Of course, the pandemic stopped that completely to a halt. Or also focusing on people who I was dating and things like that, and just kind of like, trying to make other people happy, which I've always been somewhat of a people pleaser, not necessarily like a carpet. Nobody walks over me, but I really want to be a good friend to people, and I really want to be a good positive inspiration in someone's life, and these videos give me a chance to do that, right? And I oftentimes get caught up in that, though, to where I'll put somebody else over myself. I'll do what I can and think about what I can do to make somebody else happy. And it's a nice thing. It's a nice personality trait to have, but sometimes what ends up happening is we try so hard to please those that we care about. I'm not a people pleaser in the sense that I want to please everyone because I don't care about what people think that I don't know. But people who I care about, I do care about very deeply. And that has to do with the fact that I've lost a lot of people in my life, like my parents and my brother. I've talked about that in previous videos. And because I'm alone here, I oftentimes, will try to get closer to my friends and people who I date and things of that nature. So anyways, the point I'm trying to make is what I've learned to do is really put the focus on myself and put a lot of emphasis on myself, because whenever I have put the focus on myself, it's given me benefits, whether it be when I was first starting out doing my business, whether it be when I was first focusing on investing, or whether it be when I was focusing on my health, like I have for the past 6 months or so. And I have seen tremendous results based on things I have done as far as my health goes. And it's the first time in my life I've actually seen results. Like a lot of results. I've seen results in the past, but I mean like really like quick results based on research, based on focus, and based on really having a fundamental understanding that one thing I'll tell y'all, and don't get it twisted, this is not about being selfish. There's a big difference between focusing on yourself and being selfish. Being selfish is when you try to give yourself something in sacrifice of giving it to somebody else for reasons purely involving greed, materialistic possessions, money, things like that. Now, that does not mean you should not try to get yourself as much money as possible, because you should, or the best possible living conditions. But that does not make you a selfish person. Being selfish is if you have a friend who is at your house who's hungry. Let's say your friend has not eaten for a week, and you've got 2 bowls of cereal, and you eat both bowls of cereal instead of giving him 1 bowl. Things like that. That's selfish. That's a small example, but one that I'm sure you can understand. But breaking bread with somebody is the right thing to do. But that doesn't mean you have to give them both cereal bowls. You can just compromise and split it, right? That's what most people will think of. So, again, small example. Working on yourself means realizing there's a problem or a fault in your character and trying to fix it, or a fault in your life, whether it be you think you're too fat, or you're, not in the shape you want to be in, or you're too skinny, you want to get more buff, or you want a better car or a better job, or you want more, you realize that, you realize you've hurt people. You realize there are character flaws in you. You realize that there are things about your character that you think you can fix, whether it be through therapy, whether it be through reading and understanding things, meditation. Maybe you have an anger problem. I've talked about my anger problems at length here on this channel and in the past. And people who have been following me for a very long time, some of you have been witness to my anger problems, and my short fuses. I'm a different dude now. I'm a lot more at peace than I ever have been ever in my entire life. And it's because of the fact that I went through therapy. I went through a year-long process of healing and attacking things that I had to deal with in my past, which I'd be more than happy to share with you in a future video if you want to hear it, because I think it might be interesting for y'all to kind of see what I went through and see if you can relate, because I know for a fact that some of you will relate. I know you will, because a lot of you guys are either the same age as me or a little bit younger, a little bit older, usually probably a little bit younger, and because of the way that the society has gone, there's a much higher chance that you'll understand where I'm coming from. So maybe I'll delve into that in the future. But I kind of learned what some of my flaws were, right? And I learned how to control them. And then once you learn how to control your problems, that's the first step into healing. Because then after that, you can kind of, not only will you reshape your brain, you rewire your brain into thinking a different pathway, a new neural pathway, that ends up becoming a way of life. You know, it's one of those things where, let's say you have anger problems, right? At first, you might recognize a trigger point. You know, somebody says something to you, you know, insults you or whatever, right? And then you get mad. Then as you work on yourself, you learn to like, okay, let me just not, I'm mad. I recognize I'm mad, but I'm not going to let them know I'm mad. That's phase 2. Then phase 3 is like, okay, I'm not as mad anymore. I'm going to put it aside and get busy. You start doing things to get past it. Then by the time you hit phase 4 and phase 5 of your healing, it's like those things don't even get you mad anymore. They don't even get you mad anymore. And that's when you really have ascended. So I know a lot of y'all are struggling. I know this because I struggle. I know a lot of y'all are going through some shit. I know this because I've gone through some shit. We all have. But perseverance is important. Perseverance is important. It's something you can definitely do. And the first thing you have to do is really focus on yourself, because the truth is, I'm going to hit y'all with a reality that you might not even like, but it's the truth. The only person in this world you can count on 100% of the time is yourself. That is and trust me when I tell you this, I have lived a long life. Well, it's not that long, but I've been around. I have dealt with all kinds of different people. And yes, you can rely on your parents maybe 90% of the time, sometimes less, sometimes 80, 70, 60% of the time. You can rely on your siblings. You can rely on your girlfriend, boyfriend, and your children. But none of those people are ever going to equal you, because you are in your own brain. Nobody is in your thoughts. Not your girlfriend, not your pastor, not your lawyer. Nobody is in your thoughts. Nobody truly knows what you are thinking. And that's why I've tried to tell people not to be so judgmental on the internet. Because you don't know what the other person's thinking. You just don't know. You can't figure it out. There might be a multitude of different thoughts that go through their head. When someone says something out of anger or is in pain, you don't really know the magnitude of that pain. It might not be a pain that you can resonate with, but it might hurt them more than it hurts you, because they have to live in that body. They have to live with those memories. They have to live with that pain, not you. Just like how you have to live with your pain. Physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, whatever. So, you have to focus on yourself, and focusing on yourself means really putting yourself first sometimes. That does not mean being selfish. Putting yourself first in that, if you are trying to achieve greater things, focus on achieving those greater things first and foremost, and have everything else be secondary. This is really the core of masculine energy, which I'm going to do a whole ass video on masculine versus feminine energy, because it's a very real thing. And I think once you understand the fundamentals of this, you can really learn a lot about yourself, whether you're a man or a woman, or if you're trans or bisexual or gay. It doesn't even matter, because this applies to human beings no matter what your gender may be. Masculine and feminine energy is genderless, because everybody has it. I'll get into that in that video. But focusing on yourself, focusing on your goals, focusing on improving yourself, your business plan, whatever, and putting time in. Because you're not going to succeed in anything unless you put time into what you're succeeding in. Whether it be weight loss, whether it be weight gain, whether it be your business, whether it be Twitch, whether it be whatever. You got to put time in. It's not going to happen overnight. It's just not going to happen. And sometimes, even if you want to be that guy, and I've seen some of y'all's comments who wants to make everybody happy, and that's respectable. Sometimes you have to make yourself happy. Sometimes you have to take a time out for yourself and say, you know what? I'm having a bad day. I'm going to go see a movie by myself. Or I'm going to go... And I'm not one who's like one of those guys going to tell you to go splurge your money on dumb shit. Because on my investing videos, I talk about saving money. But if there's something that you think maybe you can buy... or more so an experience. You can't buy an experience. So if you want to go see a movie or go to a theme park or go out with a girl or something like that, that's something that your money's going well spent because it's an experience and it's a memory, right? And that is more important than buying like, rims for your car or a necklace. To me that shit is very low value when it comes to a memory. If you're one of those guys who makes pretty good money and you work like a damn slave and you say, you know what, I want to take a trip. I want to go to Miami Beach. I want to go to Hawaii. And if you got the funds, you could take a week off. Just go. It took me so long to learn this, bro. It took me years to learn this. There were years when I was making really good money as an engineer that I just spent all the time at home. Miserable. Because I didn't want to take the trip. Because I didn't want to go. No, dude, go. Enjoy yourself. Even if you're by yourself, yo. You might meet someone there. What if you're on the beach and you meet a hot girl there and she becomes your girlfriend or your wife, or vice versa? You never know what can happen. So just go. And you don't have to make it a habit. If you can't afford to go on a trip 3 times a year, but you can afford to go once a year, be practical, be smart. It's time for us to grow up as people. I say this knowing that a lot of my audience is young, and a lot of y'all came over from Geekdom 101, which is an anime channel, and there's a lot of anime fans who have certain issues, that they grew up with, which is what attracted them to anime. I'll get into that in another video if you want. And I know that some of y'all have this kind of, some of y'all, not all y'all, have this kind of internet mentality, and you got to break out of that at some point and grow up. When I say grow up, it's not a demeaning term. It's more so like grow up and be that person who you need to be. Like coming of age. Not grow up as far as like, oh, you're being immature, grow up. Grow up like an example would be Gohan becoming who he was born to be at the end of the Cell Saga. Like he's still a kid, right? But he's grown up in that he became who he needed to be for that moment. You know what I mean? Showing your responsibility, showing who you are as a person to the world and to yourself. But the most important thing is to focus on yourself, and it's really important. So if you're having a time right now in your life where you haven't really been focusing on yourself and you've been pleasing other people, do something nice for yourself. Seriously. Do something nice for yourself. And if you want to work on, your weight or whatever, or your muscles or whatever, right? And you're spending too much time with your girlfriend, maybe tell her, hey baby, I gotta focus on this, I'll be better, and she'll respect you. If she loves you, she'll respect you. She'll respect that. That's how you do it, man. Don't let corporate America and your job consume you and control you, yo. You are in control of yourself. And remember, you can't rely on anybody 100% but yourself. Don't ever forget that. I hope this message got to you well, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care of yourself.